nabanggit po ng mga ibang kasama ko na this is the last of a series of regional masterclass roadshows. But it's also special in another way dahil homecoming pala ni Oli Amoroso, ang aming VP, who grew up here. And after just being here for a night, I want to say I think your parents made a good decision of moving your family here. Yung isang lesson pala dun sa speech mo, and I think everyone should learn from, is don't forget where you came from. Si Dr. Jess naman, dun sa kanyang speech, tinawag niyang paradise itong campus. After just two days here, I agree, sir. But napakaganda po ng inyong campus, very spacious, a lot of fresh air. Pero sa mga taga Maynila, sa totoo lang, medyo mababa po yung aming threshold or standard for a paradise. Sa amin, konti lang ang traffic, it already feels like paradise. At ako ay natutuwa dahil nauna sa akin yung mga ibang colleagues ko from GMA, and they were able to show na yung aming trabaho, yung balita, mga storya namin, the facts that we find in presenting, pinaghihirapan po. We take risks, we face dangers, just to bring in the news, just to produce stories. The truth is hard work. The truth is hard work. Finding facts is hard work. Kaya, sobra akong masaya na they're here with me because nakakakita kayo ng good examples sa ating information ecosystem, because maraming bad examples ngayon, and my talk for the next 10-12 minutes will be a lot of bad examples. Nadudumihan yung salitang news, no? Kaya kami, we coined a local term that you might want to use also as an alternative to fake news, at yan po ang malita.
Malita.
Yeah. So sa totoo lang po tayo, at wag sa malita. Now I want to just talk about how big a problem this is.
Okay na to, malita.
I go into the solutions, no? Yeah, next.
Bago sa segregation.
Okay. Isa na tayong capital ng fake news sa mundo. Let's not sugarcoat this. This is not just my opinion or the opinions of fellow Filipino journalists who have to grapple with this. No? Next slide. It's also the opinion of Facebook. It's the opinion of international media. Tayo ang patient zero pagdating sa disinformation, pagdating sa fake news. Bakit credible yung Facebook sa larangan ng fake news? Dahil sa Facebook mismo kinakala ang karamihan ng fake news. Diyan natin siya nakikita. And that's also where the solutions lie. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Facebook a little bit. But first, about fake news. Next. Okay. Why is this such a danger? It's a threat to democracy. Ngayon, I know that there's some people who are trying to devalue the whole concept of democracy. Ako, nabanggit kanina na I've been a journalist for 31 years. That means I started as a campus journalist, and even as a teacher, high school teacher. I was already taking news photography. So I actually started during martial law, during a dictatorship, and I can tell you, democracy is better. In 1985, I was just taking photos at a political rally at ako po ay nadampot ng plainclothesmen at nakulong po ako ng 8 days just for taking photos. At noon, there was no freedom to take photos. There was no freedom of speech. There was no freedom to assemble like this to talk honestly about issues. That's the difference between a dictatorship and democracy. So, this freedom to assemble today, this is something that we need to value. And part of democracy is freedom of the press. And we need to be concerned anytime there is a threat to freedom of the press. And fake news is one of the gravest threats to freedom of the press today. Next. So, fake news is a threat to journalism. And close to our backyard, sa GMA, we have felt this in a very personal way, in a very close, intimate way. Next. Makikita nyo, no? Itong, kung nagpupunta kayo sa website namin, this appears like our website. It's got the same logo, the same colors, same layout, or similar layout, pero it is actually a fake GMA News website. Madaling maloko, no? That's why I'm going to be giving some tips later on how to identify fake news. Okay, next slide, just so you see the real thing. Okay, that's the real GMA News website. Okay. Ibalik natin sa fake. Yan ang fake. It's very hard to tell the difference if you're not very careful, if you're not very discerning. Okay, next. Okay, sorry, back. Okay. Back. No, back. Back. Yan. Okay. So, itong example ng nagagamit ng kung paano gamitin yung isang fake GMA News website or any fake news website. Nagkakalit sila ng malita na ganito. Okay, example lang to because this is widely shared during the start of the Marawi siege. Na ang nag-umpisa daw ng Marawi crisis ay si FBR, si Lenny Robredo, Loretta Rosales, Laila de Lima, and then sinaside pa yung international community na sila raw ang nag-umpisa ng Marawi crisis. But now we know better. Kasi dami ng balitang lumabas. Pero nung umpisa ng Marawi crisis, ito yung kumakalat. Over 10,000 times siyang na-share. Kami, nakita namin to ng thousands of times na siyang na-share. Kasi ang bilis nga pumalat ng fake news sa internet. Ano ginawa namin? Una, hindi namin alam kung anong gagawin. Because we don't want to be driving eyeballs, making people curious. Ano ba yung sinabi dun sa fake GMA News website? So naglabas kami ng advisory that looks very unsexy. That's much less sexy than this. And yun, next. Ang sinabi dun sa advisory ay paalala mula sa GMA News, etc. etc. Very gray and dry advisory. It was only shared 52 times. So yan ang challenge that we're facing. Falsehoods are much sexier. They're much more attractive. They're much more, they tend to be shared a lot more than dry facts. That's why it's a challenge to us in the news business to make the truth more interesting. So yun ang ikakalat nyo, yung katotohanan na galing sa credible news sites rather than fake news that you happen to agree with but appear suspect. Next. Okay, this is the one way of telling the difference between a fake news website and a real news website. Yung sa URL. Because you have to compare the URLs. You have to know the URLs. That's how sophisticated news consumers need to be. It's not just judging whether something is true based on appearance. Kailangan yung basahin, kailangan yung tingnan yung URL. So that's partly why we're here. To make you more media literate. It's not enough just to judge something on its appearance, diba? Like don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a website by its color or by its logo alone. You have to look at things like the URL, the About Us. You have to look at previous stories. Next, please. Okay, it's been weaponized. Alam mo, hindi naman inimbento ang fake news sa Pilipinas. In fact, the person who popularized the concept of fake news is President Donald Trump. But binaligtad niya eh. He calls any critical news media or any journalist who dare ask tough questions, tulad ng sinabi nga ni Maris kanina, she asks tough questions kaya siya binabash. Ganun din ang nangyari sa ibang bansa. It is actually a global phenomenon. Pero si Donald Trump talaga nag-popularize ito at ginagaya siya ngayon. So if you try to question, if you try to criticize, if you disagree, tinatawag ka ng fake news. When it's actually, you might actually be telling the truth. Next. So, parating na yung election. Can it make a difference? Well, in the Philippines, wala masyadong pag-aaral, wala masyadong pagsusuri. But if you take a look at what's happened in other countries like the United States, where ang dami ng scholarship tungkol dito, yes, fake news can actually influence the outcome of an election. Tulad nito, okay, ginraph ito. Basically, to summarize, those who are not very who aren't very familiar with graphs, basically, ang conclusion nito ay the closer the date came to the US election in November 2016, the more people engaged with fake news than news that came from credible news sites. So yung red line represents fake news. So close to the election, it surpassed already engagement on Facebook with real news. News that came from legitimate news websites. So, hindi naman yun proof, but there is a correlation between engagement on Facebook with fake news and Donald Trump's improbable victory. Remember, all the statisticians, all the experts were predicting a Hillary Clinton victory. Tapos talaga nag-overdrive na itong fake news machinery ni Donald Trump. Hanggang yon, nanalo siya. Ang dami niya nabola. At hanggang ngayon, yung pa rin yung kanyang style. Ginagamit itong style na because Donald Trump has shown that fake news works as a strategy to power. That's why it's being used in the Philippines, it's being used in Europe, it's being used in so many other countries because it works. We are telling you now that it may work, but it shouldn't work. It only works kasi marami nagpapaloko. Now we know better. We must know better if we're not going to allow fake news to influence this election. Next, please. Alright, that's the same point. Next. Okay, maraming lista. How do you know kung ano yung fake news websites o anong sinong nagkakalat? May mga listahan from credible sources. Okay, the bishops have decided to issue their own list of fake news websites. It's become a moral issue. Why not? Sinasabi ng ibang politiko, bakit namumuliti ka yung mga bishop? Hindi. To the bishops, this is a matter of right and wrong. This is a matter of truth and lies. This is a matter of morality. This is not just politics. And it doesn't matter. Maybe only one side of the political spectrum is spreading most of the fake news, but that doesn't make it less of a moral issue. Next, please. Okay, definition. Maraming dictionary, wala pa rin definition of fake news, pero in Cambridge Dictionary meron. Basically, false stories that appear to be news, spread on the internet, or using other media. So, a lie by itself, propaganda by itself is not fake news. Kailangan lumabas sa news media. A lie has to be, dapat patulan ng news media para maging fake news. Or dahil maraming news media hindi na nagpapaloko, kailangan magtayo, gumawa ng fake news website or a website, a fake news site that looks like a real website para kayo maniwala. Next. Okay. So when a lie is presented in the news media without independent verification, it becomes fake news. Next. Okay. Okay, example. The Guardian is one of the most reputable news websites in the world, but there are also fakes. For every legitimate news website, there are fake counterparts. Not just one, but many fake counterparts. Pinakita ko na yung fake GMA news website. Meron din mga Guardian, may fake Inquirer, may fake Rappler, may fake Philippine Star, etc. This is one example. Next. Alright. So, anyway. Okay, back. Anyway, for those who are taking biology, back please, back.
Previous type.
Back.
Previous. Ano to na? Next one.
Let's forward, back. Back. Yan, okay. So ecosystems, no? Maraming klaseng fake news. But I'm going to just go through the basic taxonomy. Next. Okay, misinformation, parang pag may mistext or miscall, di ba? Parang aksidente, ganun din ang misinformation. It's an accidental. So, we make mistakes. We're human as journalists. But when we make mistakes, inaamin namin, madalas nag-apologize pa kami. Yung mga nagkakalat ng disinformation o yung mga sadya na sinungaling, ay hindi nila binabawi yan. At lalo na, hindi nag-apologize. Next. Next, please. Okay, so disinformation is intentionally false. Next. Alright, this is an example of misinformation. A tweet from Lani Mercado. But binawi niya, nag-tweet siya na namatay daw si Imelda Marcos. So binawi niya, that's a mistake. It's an honest mistake kasi binawi niya. So it's misinformation. This, again, misinformation is an honest mistake. Disinformation is a malicious lie disguised as news. Disinformation is fake news or malita. It's a malicious lie disguised as news. Next, please. Okay, my study sa US. I'm just going to share a couple of insights from it, just to give you an idea of why people share fake news. Next. Yung isang insight niya, mas sexy nga yung falsehood. So, kahit alam mo na mali, kahit alam mo na hindi totoo, maraming tao, kinakalat pa rin yan. So, in other words, the reality or facts don't matter as much as something that they agree with. Next. False information is designed to meet emotional needs and reinforce beliefs. So, ibig sabihin nito, minsan, mas importante pa yung pakiramdam mo o yung emotional reaction mo sa isang bagay kaysa sa kung totoo siya o hindi. That's something we need. That's something you should be learning in university. That truth is the truth, even if you don't agree with it, even if it contradicts what you already believe. It's still the truth. It's still facts. That's why you study science, right? Next. Okay, taxonomy. Those who are studying biology are familiar with taxonomy. Maraming uri, a lot of classes, a lot of kinds. Next. There's satire and parody. Lumos, ito talagang it's meant to be humor, pero some people take it seriously, kinakalat, and then say, hey, look what happened in the United States recently. Pero ano pala siya, satire. You have to beware of that. Next. Alright, manipulated content. I mean, marami sa atin dito marunong mag-Photoshop. Madaling mag-Photoshop ng lehitimong letrato, ng totoong letrato at gawing fake na image. Katulad nito, si Rizzo Ontiveros, opposition senator, lagi nagiging biktima ng mga ganitong strategy. Nilagyan siya ng poster na kasulat na kunyari, kumakampi siya sa mga terorista na sumalakay sa Marawi. Ang Maute ay mga Pilipino din, intindihin natin sila, pray for Maute. But if you do Google reverse image search, they're online tools to authenticate images. Again, Google reverse image search. That's just one tool you can use. Another one is TinEye. You just put this photo into the search bar at hahanapin yung original photo, which was this. Which was actually a poster. You can read it in the back. It says, Oplan, tulong Cagayan, kaya natin ito, Cagayan, rebuild Cagayan. It was actually an appeal for humanitarian aid when a disaster or a typhoon hit northern Mindanao several years ago. So, nag-appeal siya, meron siyang poster na hinawakan na kumalat, kinuha yung litrato na yun at pinilatan yung words. At yun naman, mas kumalat pa because a lot of people happen to think that it was true. Next. Alright, and then there's just outright fabricated content. Next. Alright, and then imposter sites. I've already taken this up. Okay, that's the imposter site ng GMA News. Next. Alright, what can we do? Okay, a few minutes on solutions now. Look at URLs. Okay, you have to be that sophisticated na. I mean, don't worry, this is not complicated. It just takes maybe 1 or 2 seconds of observation. So yung totoo nasa kaliwa, yung fake nasa kanan, official, and then yung fake yung nasa kanan. Very similar, as you can see. That's why you have to be very savvy now when you read websites. Next. Okay, I took this up earlier. Tingnan mo yung layout. Yung sa kaliwa, yung fake, yung sa kanan, yung totoo. Okay, next. Philippine Star, yung fake sa kaliwa, yung totoo sa kanan. Tingnan mo yung URL sa taas. Very similar. Next. Okay, international news websites are also being fake. Yung kaliwa, fake. Yung nasa kanan, yung totoo. Next. Alright, so kami, sa GMA News, we try to warn the public, via dry warnings like this. Because we're also afraid of driving eyeballs to the fake news websites. That's why we're faced with a dilemma about how to warn people. Kasi something like this is not going to be shared very much. Next. Okay, next. Okay, we took legal action, by the way. In case you're wondering, whatever happened to that fake GMA News website, sinulatan ng mga abogado namin sa hosting company ng fake news website sa California at binabaka agad. But, not everyone has a legal department. So you just have to watch out. A lot of fake news websites are still active kahit nako-call out na because they're not based in countries that are where people listen to lawyers. Next. Okay, this skeptical discernment. Yung skeptical parang tinataasan mo ng kilay. Taasan niyo yung kilay. Okay? Yung mga dubious claims. Don't just believe and don't just share. Yung sharing, huwag niyong gawing reflex action or knee-jerk action. Mag-isip muna. Kaya may kasabihan kami sa GMA na kinakalat din namin. Next. Think before you click. Okay. And it's not just about sharing fake news. Don't click, don't share, don't do anything on the internet. If you're angry, if you're emotional, calm down, get a good night's sleep before you go back to social media and do things that you might regret. Next. Alright, and finally, verify. Okay, there are many ways of verifying. Next. Debunk and fact check. Alright, check the record. Okay, very recently, di ba lumabas ng balita tungkol sa isang senatorial candidate, si Amy Marcos, who has gone around kind of talking about her academic record. This is a lesson also for students, no? Madali na mahuli ngayon eh. Dati siguro, she was able to get away with it, thinking na people believe she was a real Princeton graduate, that she's a real UP Law graduate, but both Princeton University in the United States and UP have both issued statements saying mali, hindi siya nag-graduate doon. Pero hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin niya binabawi, hindi pa rin siya nag-apologize. And remember, she's running for senator along with a lot of other people who may be doing the same thing. Yeah, please verify their claims if you can do that. Next. Alright, may mga fact-check operations ang mga credible news media. Go to them, like Agence France Press is a very good fact-check operation that also focuses on the Philippines. Next. Yan, example of that. Okay, pina-fact-check nila yung mga litrato. Next. Verifiles also has a fact-check operation.
Nag-uban dito sila. Impersonator ni Kim Jong-un o ni President
Inquirer, even the mainstream media, they have fact-check operations.
Lahat sila sa Hong Kong.
Next. Ito, galing sa amin, sa GMA News, meron kami hindi tama na fact-check operation na where we verify, we research and try to see whether claims being spread on the internet are true or not. Next. Alright, we've been lobbying Facebook to clean up its act. Okay? It's not just the fault of those spreading this information, it's also the fault of the social media platforms, in particular Facebook. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Most of us use Facebook. Most Filipinos use Facebook. And that's where a lot of the fake news is being spread. That's why Facebook needs to clean up its act. Hindi na lang pwedeng sabihin, this is a neutral playing field, kahit ano pwedeng gawin dyan. Hindi pwede kasi private property nila yan eh. Para may pumunta rito sa private property or property ng university at gumawa ng mga graffiti dito, di ba? O nagmura dito. Hindi pwede gawin yon. Tulad nito, Facebook took down 220 pages, partly as a result of this lobbying. Pero much more needs to be done. Next. Google has also been known to spread fake news through Google, pero may ginagawa na rin sila. They're also taking down websites para hindi na lumabas sa search queries. Okay, why do people share fake news? They don't know any better. They're not careful. It was shared by leaders. So may mga people, sometimes people know that it's fake, sinishare pa rin. Why? Because of the last. They know it's false, but they agree with it, so they share it anyway. Mali yun.
No?
Diba? It's a lie. If it's a lie, even if you agree with the lie, hindi dapat kinakalat. Next. Okay, this is an insight that came out in The Guardian about the study. Sabi dito, older people are more likely to share fake news on Facebook. Mostly, it's not because older people are not as smart as young people. It's because younger people are more savvy. So I want you, since most of you probably know a lot of this already, go home and talk to your titas and titos and lolos and lolas and your parents and talk to them about fake news, about how they should not just share anything that they agree with. Find out first if it's true. Next. Alright, some very quick tips on how to identify fake news. Be skeptical of headlines. Next. Investigate the source. Look at the About Us. Yung sa ilalim, kailangan nakalagay din sa website kung sino yung mga editors. There has to be accountability. Kung wala nakalagay doon, it may be fake. Watch for the unusual formatting. Okay, usually yung mga fake news websites are sloppy. Next. Check the evidence. Next. Look at other reports. Kung sa isang website lang lumalabas ang napaka-importanting balita, maaaring hindi totoo. Kasi bakit isang news website lang lumabas? Baka hindi nga totoo yung news website na yan, baka fake yan. Next. Inspect the posting dates. I think this was already taken up earlier, I think by Audrey or Maurice.
Lagot ka na yung
kung may lumabas na walang pasok advisory, please check the dates, baka fake news din yan. Even though you agree with it, don't share. Next. Alright. Advisories next. List of disinformation sites. May mga listahan dyan. And pag lumalabas ng mga listahan, madalas, tinitake down na kaagad ng may-ari because na-expose na sila. Next. And the Wikipedia site is, I know, is always being updated. That's a good source If you're doubtful about a particular website, hanapin nyo doon sa list ng Philippine fake news websites. It's been vetted. I know some of the people behind that. They're very diligent researchers. Next. Media literacy. This is part of this effort. Kaya kami nagpupunta rito for media literacy. Dapat tinuturo yan sa schools, sa classrooms, sa mass communication, sa communications courses. And dapat din tinuturo yun ng media in our own coverage. So we have a responsibility as well to make our public more media literate. Next. Alright, we have a show. So this is part of that effort to make our public more media literate. We have an online show, YouTube, that's actually migrated to television already. It's become a segment on Brigada, our TV show, called Factor Fake. It's about fake news. Kung ano yung fake news, dinidebunk namin, bine-verify namin yung mga dubious claims at kino-call out namin kung fake. And it's being researched. It's researched very in-depth and anchored by one of our most respected journalists, Joseph Moro. And I also want to announce here, next please, that we're coming up with a new show called Stand for Truth. It's going to start maybe in March, and it's going to be anchored by Atom Araulio and Richard Lidiaria, two of our more prominent GMA journalists and personalities. And we're all hoping it's going to be as hard-hitting and brave as its title. Next. So, you know what? I just want to end with this. The fate of this issue of fake news really depends on your values. Kasi sinasabi ko nga, maraming tao, kahit alam nila na sinungaling, kahit alam nila na mali, kinakalat pa rin. Why is that? Because the whole concept of truth or fact has been devalued. Bumaba yung value ng truth sa mata ng marami. Kaya kahit alam natin na mali, kinakalat pa rin. So it really comes down to our values. So I want to reinforce again that we need to rethink some of our values. What is really important to us? Our loyalties to certain people, to certain beliefs or ideologies, or the truth?